Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. How Jenn Tran's relationship with Jonathon changed after show. Many Bachelor Nation fans think Jenn Tran made the wrong decision when she sent suitor Jonathon Johnson home. She recently opened up about how their relationship has changed after The Bachelorette. Keep reading to see what she said. How Jenn Tran's relationship with Jonathon changed after The Bachelorette. The Bachelorette Season 21, after the final rose, was a whirlwind for viewers. In a short amount of time, they found out that Jenn Tran got engaged to Demonstrator, but the couple broke up a month before the finale. Jenn Tran lit into her ex-fiance for his behavior after their split, and was then tormented by the network into watching the bittersweet footage of the engagement moment. Fans noticed after the finale aired that Jenn Tran was spending a lot of time with Jonathon Johnson, who was her third-place runner-up. The two insisted that they were just friends, but Bachelor Nation fans think they should pursue a relationship. Jonathon Johnson and Jenn Tran attended the DirecTV Gets Real party late last month. People magazine caught up to the former Bachelorette, and she shared insight into how her relationship with Jonathon Johnson has changed since the ABC dating show. The Bachelorette films for several weeks, but the lead doesn't get a lot of individual time with the contestants. It's hard to get to know each other very well during that time period. Jenn Tran addressed this when she said, "It's funny because you learn so much more about the person after the show." She continued, "There's so many layers to uncover and things about them that you didn't know, especially things that they were feeling in the moment on the show. And you're like, wait, you weren't feeling that way?" Jenn Tran admitted that she's become so much closer with Jonathon Johnson since their time on the show together. Fans still rooting for Jenn and Jonathon to get together. Jenn Tran and Jonathon Johnson both shared a photo from the DirecTV event on Instagram. The friends took a photo together on the red carpet. It was the kind of story reality TV producers dream of, two people brought together under unusual circumstances, navigating the ups and downs of a public experiment, only to discover something deeper about themselves and each other. Jenn Tran and Jonathon entered the show with different motivations and expectations. By the end, both had undergone a journey neither anticipated, and the ripples of that transformation continued long after the cameras stopped rolling. Jenn Tran, a fiercely independent woman with a sharp wit and a drive for success, wasn't someone who easily let her guard down. From the outset, she made it clear that she wasn't looking for love. Rather, she was focused on using the show as a platform to expand her personal brand and take advantage of new opportunities. Jonathon, on the other hand, approached things differently. His easygoing demeanor, coupled with his desire for authenticity, led him into the experience with an open heart and a willingness to see where life took him. Their connection was unexpected. From their initial conversations, the tension between Jenn's ambition and Jonathon's laid-back approach was palpable. At times, it seemed as though they were speaking entirely different languages. But as the show progressed, something surprising happened. They began to understand one another. Jenn's walls, meticulously built from years of self-preservation, began to crack, while Jonathon found himself drawn to her sharp intellect and fiery independence. What started as a clash of personalities slowly evolved into a partnership built on mutual respect and curiosity. It wasn't a love story in the traditional sense, but it was a connection neither of them had expected. As the show ended, they found themselves in uncharted territory. Would their bond survive outside of the artificial confines of reality TV? The months following the show were revealing. In many ways, Jenn and Jonathon had to relearn how to interact without the prying eyes of cameras and producers. The dynamic shifted as the high-stakes atmosphere of the show gave way to real life. Jenn, now more aware of her vulnerabilities, faced the challenge of navigating a relationship in the real world, where every conversation wasn't framed for an audience, and every emotion wasn't amplified for dramatic effect. For Jonathon, the post-show period was an opportunity to explore Jenn's true self. Without the pressure of public perception, he saw her in a new light. Jenn was still the ambitious, determined woman he had come to admire, but there was more to her than that. She was funny, fiercely loyal, and passionate about things beyond the public image she had curated. The more time they spent together, the more Jonathon realized that what had initially seemed like a surface-level connection was something much deeper. But the transition wasn't without its bumps. Jenn, used to being in control, often found it difficult to adapt to a relationship where her vulnerabilities were laid bare. Jonathon's easygoing nature sometimes frustrated her. She mistook his calmness for a lack of intensity. It was during these moments that their relationship faced its greatest challenges. However, instead of pulling away, they leaned into the discomfort, finding ways to communicate and work through their differences. Jenn's public persona, which had always been carefully managed, was another obstacle. She had spent years crafting an image that aligned with her professional ambitions, and now she found herself in a position where she had to decide how much of that image was authentic. Jonathon, ever the supportive partner, encouraged her to be herself, to let go of the need to constantly perform. For Jenn, this was both liberating and terrifying. She had never known a relationship where she could be fully herself, flaws and all. As the months went on, their relationship continued to evolve. What had started as a connection born out of circumstance became a bond rooted in shared experiences, mutual growth, and a deep understanding of one another. They weren't perfect, and they knew that, but they had come to appreciate the imperfections in each other and themselves. One of the defining moments of their post-show relationship came during a trip they took together, far from the public eye. It was the first time they had been able to disconnect from the pressures of their respective careers and simply focus on each other. During long hikes and late-night conversations under the stars, they rediscovered what had drawn them to each other in the first place: a sense of adventure, curiosity, and the ability to challenge each other in ways no one else could. The trip was a turning point. For Jenn, it was the first time she had truly let go of the persona she had been holding onto for so long. With Jonathon, she found the freedom to be vulnerable, to express her fears and desires without fear of judgment. Jonathon, in turn, discovered a deeper connection with Jenn, one that went beyond the surface-level interactions of their time on the show. He saw her not as a brand or a public figure, but as a person, complex and multifaceted. Their relationship post-show was a testament to growth and adaptation. It wasn't the fairy tale ending that many fans had hoped for, but it was real. Jenn and Jonathon didn't fall into the typical pattern of reality TV couples who fade away after the spotlight dims. Instead, they used their experience on the show as a catalyst for personal growth, and in doing so, they built a relationship that was uniquely their own. By the time their one-year anniversary rolled around, they had come to understand that their relationship wasn't defined by the show, but by the journey they had taken together afterward. The challenges they faced had only made them stronger, and they both knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together, not as the characters they had played on TV, but as the real, imperfect individuals they had become. In the end, Jenn Tran and Jonathon's relationship was a story of transformation. What had started as an unlikely pairing on a reality show evolved into a genuine connection that transcended the superficiality of the medium that had brought them together. Their journey was one of vulnerability, growth, and ultimately, love, not the kind scripted for television, but the kind that is earned through mutual respect, understanding, and a willingness to grow together.